everybody, welcome back to the Skookum Report. It's Bob Daigle, the man with the plan, man with the Bigfoot encounter in his hand, ready to read it for you. And it may or may not be true. It's up for you to decide. I can't think of anything that rhymes with decide. This guy wants to remain anonymous, and I hope you guys like it. It's a military story and a hairy man story. Also, it was read on a couple other platforms, but he still sent it to me and wants me to read it because we all have different audiences. And dude, I'm sorry it took me so long to get to this email, but I'm going to go ahead and read it now for everybody. Early in the morning, around 2 a.m., on January 17th, 1991, I was assigned to do a patrol in Area 6 on Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. As an Air Force security police law enforcement specialist, I had been in the USAF for several years. During those years, I had earned leadership respect by doing what I was told to do, no matter how difficult the task. Early on in Barksdale, I had a drugged-up civilian man try to beat me to death. That sounds like fun. He was charged and pled guilty to attempted murder on a federal officer. I had been shot at several times by pissed-off gang members who thought they could send their buddies on base to sell dope and mess with enlisted and enlisted spouses and dependents. From fighting to selling drugs, the gang members were all arrested, their buddies being pissed-off cowards who would empty a pistol at a security police on base gates and drive off. Crazy, crazy, crazy. By this time, I had also been recruited into nuclear weapon security and presidential security relating to a secret presidential bunker that was used on September 11th, 2001 by President Bush. A day we'll never forget, that's for sure. The bunker is now declassified. I was also a member of the emergency services team, which is basically a team of 4 USAF cops that are trained to kill people using different tactics than normal cops. Now back to the story. On January 17th, early in the morning around 2 a.m. in Louisiana, I entered a conventional weapons storage area on Barksdale. The CAS area was located away from the main area of the base, carved out a heavy forest area. Inside the CS area were bunkers. The bunkers have large locks on the doors that are easy to see using a spotlight from the vehicle. I enjoyed doing the CAS area checks because it was often peaceful and I was able to enjoy checking on the area and exploring it alone. While doing this routine check, I had a gut feeling something was wrong and I should leave. Because of this feeling, I called dispatch and informed them I was doing a CAS area check. And dispatch understood I would be in the area approximately 20 minutes, and the check would end up taking much longer than that, though. While doing the check, the weather went from misting to heavy fog and mist, and then eventually limiting my visibility to about 50 yards with a spotlight. As I crept through the CAS area checking bunkers, I became more and more scared, a fear that was new to me, and I had never experienced this before, not this fear. This was strange, and it seemed to hang in the air, and it swept over me, and I felt almost desperate need to leave the area. However, I wasn't finished with my area inspection, so I stopped my vehicle and got out and chambered around in my M4 rifle, and ensured I had my Beretta M9 sidearm ready. Re-entering the vehicle, I continued my inspection. As I cleared the old bunkers, I entered a new bunker area. The fear I felt was thick in the air, and I had to fight against the gut feeling I needed to leave the area quickly. As I approached the new bunkers, I slowed down and had to pull up very close to them because of the heavy fog and mist. I turned on my spotlight and was shocked to see a row of bunker doors open haphazardly and the padlocks cut off and laying on the ground. I immediately called dispatch and informed them I needed backup. I had found an unsecure area, and dispatchers acknowledged, informing me that they did not have a unit to back me up, and I should clear the area alone. Everything I was informed to do was so far out of normal procedures that I knew dispatch was dealing with a much bigger issue. I put the vehicle in park, grabbed my M4 rifle, and slipped the safety off. I took out the flashlight and looked into the bunkers that had been cut open, those ones. And I found them all completely empty. Kind of relieved. I knew terrorists or enemy combatants wouldn't take what they needed or wanted and would leave a lot behind. They would only take what they needed or wanted and leave a lot behind. Only the USAF would empty all these bunkers so quickly. I called dispatch and informed them I was going to return to the main base, and they acknowledged. An incredible terror was being directed at me. It felt as if it was trying to control me. And I felt as if there was someone close by who absolutely hated me. I was picking up on this hate and projected fear and loathing and intense evil that I should get away from it. It was crazy. I got back into my vehicle, now that inspection was complete, and drove back up to the lock gate that I needed to open to drive out the vehicle. As I exited the vehicle, I had this absolute terror wash over me, to the point that I looked around in the darkness and in the mist and heavy fog, and I even called out asking if there was somebody there. But nothing but complete silence. No aircraft, no background noise, no radio chatter, no vehicle noises from afar, or bizarre. That was bizarre for a busy Air Force base. Now, to make a long story short, the gate was stuck. I was unable to open it. The evil feeling became incredibly strong now. I could feel this presence standing behind me, full of hate and full of evil. Man, I became increasingly aware of this invisible entity or creature. I stopped, turned toward the area, and I could feel that this thing was at, where this thing was at. And I asked it politely, "Please allow me to open this and leave." I turned back, and the gate was free to open. I drove my vehicle through the locked gate, through there, and locked the gate from the inside, and walked about 20 feet to the pedestrian gate and attempted to unlock it to leave the area. Well, wouldn't you know, I couldn't unlock it either. And I felt this entity almost pressing against me, emitting almost overwhelming fear. Fighting the fear, I once again turned towards the entity, and I asked it if I could please leave. I turned back to the gate, and it was easily unlocked. I exited the gate and turned around, locking it shut. I had this distinct feeling that this entity was not able to leave the CAS area, and I was safe from it. But it felt as if I was projecting hate and intense fear, that it was projecting hate and intense fear at me, trying to terrify me, which worked. I cleared the round of my M4 and put the weapon back into the truck. And as I turned back to my normal duties, I realized hours had passed, conducting just a 20-minute inspection. It was now around 7 a.m. I was able to leave and turn towards this entity one last time. I said, "Thank you for letting me go." And suddenly the hate and the fear stopped, and I felt this invisible entity move away back from me, back towards the new bunkered area. Now I returned to the main base, turned in my weapons, and went into the flight chief's office to explain why I was late returning and brief him on finding bunkers open. I knocked on the door, hearing "enter." I pushed the door open to see the day shift flight sitting behind the desk. That's when he recognized me, and he stood up and he said in a very aggressive manner, "Did you see it?" Thinking this NCO was talking about the open bunkers, I said yes. He came closer, and in an aggressive manner again, he asked "Have you seen the creature?" Now I was taken aback, and I said no, but I felt it. He looked me in the eye and told me never to go into the CAS area again alone, and if I was ordered to, which was common, to discreetly inform dispatch I can't enter the area alone because I was given a lawful order not to. Strangely, I was never asked again or assigned to the CAS area. Man, as I wrote this, it is as I write this, it is June of 2021. That experience was truly the most terrifying experience of my life. I'm now 53 years old and I live and work in remote Alaska. I've been charged by a bear, and it's pretty close to the terror I felt as a young man on base, but definitely not as bad. Now, the other encounter. This happened in March of 2017, and this was while I worked at a lodge in McCarthy, Alaska, located within the Wrangell St. Elias National Park. The Wrangell St. Elias National Park is the biggest and most wild national park in the United States at approximately 20,000 square miles. One of the ways I would relax and enjoy the area was I would walk down to the toe of the Root Glacier. The Root Glacier was a place I would watch rocks and ice slide and fall into the glacier lake. I often stopped and patiently waited for bears that often moved through the area. Towards the end of the summer, N, as I'll call him, N and I, decided to take a break and drive my pickup to the toe of the Root Glacier. I drove my beat-up Toyota slowly drove down the trails and usually used only by four-wheelers towards the toe. While I was driving, I noticed a black animal's head just over a small hill. I immediately got a very unpleasant headache, and I told Ann, "Hey, Bigfoot." It just popped up into its head up. I said, "It just popped its head up." Those words came out of my mouth, and I don't know why. I stopped the truck and I shut it off. Getting out of the truck and taking care not to slam the doors, Ann and I walked into the glacier scrub brush, where I thought the Bigfoot, or more likely an injured bear, went into the scrub. A little voice in the back of my head was screaming at me that this was not a bear. It was a person, and I should use extreme caution. However, N seemed not to be concerned. N actually was first to see this person. He said it was covered in hair, the traditional Bigfoot arm swing, and was moving with the traditional Bigfoot arm swing and was moving very slowly. What I observed was a quick glimpse of a person who was covered in dark brown hair, and when the person ran, it moved with the speed that was impossibly fast. Nothing can move that fast, especially moving through glacier rock scrub and a few downed trees. I'm an avid outdoorsman, some would say to the point of obsession. I have spent many weeks alone in some of the most remote areas of Alaska. I've seen human footprints in extremely remote areas. Most of the tracks are larger than my size 10 work boots. Some were small as a child, and there were some that were just enormous. I have often thought of that hairy man and how it did not seem to notice me or be concerned about me. At first, it seemed to be concentrating on N. For the brief second that I locked eyes, it was obviously shocked to see me, as I was to see him, the hairy man. The hairy man moved approximately 75 yards instantly. Then I saw a quick glimpse of it when it was running and jumping over the downed trees. This was just a very short interaction with a hairy man. Not very exciting, but seeing one in person and not just footprints, it is definitely confirmed to me and Ann that they are definitely, most definitely real. Oh man, he sent me this other email and said that he said, "Bob, it's good to hear that you're feeling better. I'm getting there, guys. I still got sick the other day, man. I was coughing and laying in bed, I couldn't quit coughing. I was so stuffed up and just miserable, but it'll eventually go away. It's been a rough winter, or not even yet. It's been a rough beginning of the winter." But the second email that he wanted to follow up with a couple other details, that he says, "Bob, good to hear you're feeling better. You're one of my favorite people to listen to online." Thanks, man. I appreciate that, dude. You're awesome. You're welcome to read my story. One thing I did forget and left out is that the reason we did inspections of that area, instead of having it posted by a law enforcement specialist, is that law enforcement specialist people who were assigned to the CAS area kept killing themselves. My best guess was that the 4 USAF cops killed themselves over a 10-year period. People who were cleared by psychiatrists, the USAF OSI, the FBI, they were physically fit and they knew how to fight. The base commander ordered that inspections would be conducted or 2 security police would be assigned to the area if the threat condition was at a certain level. Oh man, hopefully your listeners enjoyed this story. You may have permission to use my story online or in any other place you would like. Take care. And he wants to remain anonymous. Well, thank you, dude. I appreciate you sending that email. And I'm glad I finally got to read it for you. Man, been in and out of the hospital a couple times, been sick, been moving, and just all this stuff happened. But I tell you what, I'm still blessed, and I still enjoy doing this for you guys, and I'm excited to get this one out for you. And I'm in a good mood, and I just feel happy, and I feel blessed to have all you guys that want to still hear the Skookum Report and enjoy these Bigfoot encounters as much as I do. I appreciate it very much. And if you or anybody you know has had a Bigfoot encounter or a Bigfoot sighting or anything like that, and you'd like to have it on the show here, up on the Skookum Report, just write it down in an email and shoot it off to me at skookumreport@gmail.com. That's skookumreport@gmail.com. And I'll be sure to read it on the show for you the best I can. And we'll get it out there. And if you need to get anything off your chest or talk about something, people, or vent, man, there's people in the comment section that you can do that with. There's no ridicule here. No being made fun of. This is a safe place. I say it all the time. If anybody gets out of line or acts like an idiot, I'll just block their asses and they won't be back. So this is a safe place to vent, get stuff off your chest, and talk to other people who've been through the same thing. Because I know it can be a life-changing event. Everything you've learned and everything you knew up to that point probably just you felt like it came crashing down on you like a huge 4 brick walls in on you. And I just can't imagine what that must feel like to have to rewrite history for yourself, like rewrite science or what you believe or what you think you believed and what you now know and what you've been told and what's lies and what's the truth and who to trust and all the confusion that goes with it, man. It's just crazy stuff. But the truth is going to be told. The truth is out there. It definitely is. And with people like Steve Isdahl and Dave Polites, man, they're working hard on just nailing down these. I'm trying to watch my mouth here. Get the truth out. And as for me, I'm not a Bigfoot investigator or anything like that. I just find these stories very intriguing. These encounters, these sightings, and this is a place that I made for people to come and tell their stories and get it off their chest. And I appreciate you guys. I love you all. You're awesome. And I guess until the next Skookum Report, my name's Bob, and I am out.